Hi, baby. Are you gonna read too?
1, 2, 3, let's go!
Today is January 18th, 2022. I read this, I think it was 3 years ago, maybe.
Flashback.
Hate to love romance novels. They didn't exist until this book.
End of flashback.
I read it when I was on vacation. Remember when we used to do that? When we used to travel to other countries for vacation? Yes. I read it on the beach. It was great. I devoured it. It was my favorite for the longest time. I've also seen a lot of people talk really badly about this book and say that Sally's writing is mediocre, which I do not agree, but also it's been quite some time since I read this, and I've also read a lot of other books that I think their writing is superior, so we will see. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so happy that Lucy Hale gets to play Lucy because I love Lucy Hale. You guys, I'm obsessed with Lucy Hale. I think Lucy Hale deserves to be like the Julia Roberts. I think she needs to be like the rom-com queen. And if Hollywood won't do it, I myself will single-handedly make sure she's cast as every tiny heroine.
Later that same evening.
I want to make a note. I'm like 8 pages in, but I've realized something. A lot of writers have the tendency to write either writers or people that like reading, which I also find myself at fault with that, because even when my characters are not writers, at least one of them enjoys reading. I like it so far. It's very funny.
6 days later.
Listen, the last thing I wanted to do right now is bring up the cursed literature piece, work, whatever, and into this holy sacred ground that it's the hating game. But I've noticed something, and I just have to bring it up because y'all know I live to trash the Spanish love deception. In this book, Josh is apparently looking like Clark Kent, or one of the many actors that has portrayed Clark Kent. Who else resembled Clark Kent? Aaron, what's his face? I hate how many coincidences are between these two. I know, like, first one was enemy to lovers and stuff like that, but we see more, and quite frankly, it's bothersome. If I was Sally Thorne, I'd sue, but I'm not Sally Thorne, so I guess I won't.
Several days later.
She's just being a little menace right now. It's like she knows when I'm starting to film and just wants the attention all to herself, but when I try to film her, she's like, no. I haven't had the chance to read as much as I wanted to because work has been absolutely insane, and I haven't had time to myself. Like, literally, I would come home from work and I would just binge watch Sex and the City because that's the only thing my brain could compute. I tried to do a little bit of reading, but my brain cells just wouldn't allow me to, and now I have like a little pimple here. This is what I'm trying to say, that she's wanting the attention to herself when she notices I'm filming. I'm gonna show you right now.
Many minutes later.
Josh is actually very funny. They're both very funny. I love when people in books are funny. I appreciate the sense of humor. It means that the writer has a sense of humor, and I love that. I love when books make me laugh. I'm realizing that the book isn't exactly like a masterpiece in literature. But it's decently written, and you can tell that it had an editor. Lucy is so freaking shady. She says she has her hands on her hips. At least I think she does. She's shaped like a triangle underneath the jingling Tibetan poncho she must have bartered. Oh my god. Gee. Lucy, why am I so shiny with this wig on? I love her. I I love her.
Later that same evening.
I finally gotten to the part where he kisses her in the elevator, which is one of the most talked about scenes in the entire book. And when I first read this, I thought it was weird, but I don't really know what my exact thoughts were up until I read up on it, and I was like, oh, this is very problematic. I think Sally Thorne should have played it a bit, differently than she did. Like, yeah, she was teasing him and all that, but it was like, it's like, oh, there were so many different ways you could go around about it and make it like sexy and fun and unexpected. And this is just like, it's not romantic. I understand when people say it's borderline predatory. I feel like enemies to lovers, it's a very like difficult trope to write.
One long angry line later.
I absolutely hate when books make me angry. This man has the audacity to like touch her. It's not super intimate the way he touches her face, but it's an intimate act. And it pisses me off because like, what? Who gave you this right? I don't like it. I don't want it. I've seen this happen so many times in real life. It's happened to me where men just take the liberty of doing whatever the hell they want because they think it's the right thing to do, or like it's the right time or right moment. But like, have you ever asked the other party if it's the right thing to do? And she just told him fuck off, and he keeps on doing it because he thinks it's the right thing to do. It's not. I mean, it's realistic, but I don't want it to be realistic.
3 days later.
Remember how not so very long ago I said that the cursed book that is the Spanish Love Deception had this comparison to Clark Kent. So we have that. We have the enemies to lovers, co-workers thing, and now they're going to a wedding together. Not just any wedding, Josh's brother's wedding. Interesting.
4 to 6 days later.
There are moments in this book that are just really cute. There are some moments here that have inspired moments in my own book. And I'm like embarrassed, but also like, I just can't look past certain moments that have led up to these moments. And I'm conflicted because I do think they're very cute. Is it unrealistic? Yes, but who needs realism? I read to escape real life. I need to read you this dialogue. No description, just the dialogue. What's with the weird eyes? Relax. I was thinking how big you are. I'll fit you just right. If you're going to fit me so well, show me. I will. When I say I choked, I'm sick.
A few moments later.
There are these moments you can feel their chemistry. You can feel like, I don't know, I like them. Look at me. Like, I'm excited. But also like, the elevator scene is fucking with my head, and this disgusting Gemini man. I remember, I knew that he has liked her all this time. But if he has, why did he torment her so much? Oh my god, I'm thinking of rewriting certain moments. My idea right now is that they hate each other so much up until a certain point where they had to like, be together or something. But I do like them as a couple. I'm sorry.
3 days later.
I've gotten to the part where they're about to attend the wedding they slept in and stuff. They're like talking, and Josh is like vaguely talking about his ex. I really hate that the conflict in this book has suddenly become not like the fact that they're competing for the same job, but the fact that Lucy is being very insecure about the way she looks and whether like Josh is still pining for his ex. And it's like, oh my god, I really hate when these type of miscommunications happen, because clearly he's not pining, he's just still not over certain things that have happened. I'm sorry, am I boring you?
The next day.
I'm still reading it. I was gonna finish it last night, but I was too tired, so. I think it's pretty obvious that he likes her. I do feel like the last couple of chapters feel incredibly forced. You know how when you're trying to write something and you can't think of it, so you just write detail after detail after detail. You can tell that it was forced and not thought through, and it just makes no sense. That's how these last couple of chapters feel, and I'm having such a difficult time going through them. And I realize now what so many people in different reviews meant by saying that it kind of got tedious by the end. And I'm like, oh my god, you're right. I know the plot was that his brother's wife used to be his ex. I know that was the plot twist. And I wish we were giving it beforehand. I feel like enemies to lovers is a fantastic concept that would work fantastically if it's from a dual perspective. Because when it's from the point of view of one person, especially if it's from the point of view of a female character, and you get the male character being a little shithead. I'm sorry, but I can't ship you with somebody who is fucking terrible to you, especially a man. Like, I have a very hard time trusting men as it is. Like, and you want me to trust this person you say has serial killer eyes? I'm sorry, Lucy Hutton. You're like 5'2". No. Lucy is very funny. That's what I've noticed. That she's one of those rare romantic heroines that are actually funny, that have a good sense of humor, and I like her and Josh. This is me being torn because I do like them together as a couple. I think they have good banter. I know it serves drama why he doesn't tell her about the big scandal, but imagine how chaotic it would have been if she actually knew, if he actually got her to be like, hey, so this happened, and she's like, I mean, it would have made it a lot easier to sympathize with him. I feel like since they're opening up, you know, she's opened up to him a lot, and he is just a closed book. I feel like if during a moment of vulnerability, when she would be like, I miss my parents, I miss home, I'm very homesick, I'm very lonely, the only friend I have no longer speaks to me because she thinks that I got her fired, he could be like, yeah, it's been pretty tough for me too. Like, I feel you. I've been feeling very lonely myself. I've had a really bad breakup, and this is why I'm being a little prissy ass bitch. So, you know, he could tell her about it, and she could know about it, and she could be like, oh my god, is that why he's so bitter at the world? I think it would be even juicier because you have his perspective and her perspective. And it's like, she would be so fucking, like, protective of him, but at the same time, she would want him to look like he is the greatest boyfriend ever, and she's the greatest girlfriend ever, and they will be like, they're not pretending, but at the same time, you could tell that they care about one another. I think, I don't know, I'm thinking.
Later.
Okay, besties, listen up. When I tell you I am at my wit's end with this book, I truly, truly mean it. If you know me as a person, you know that I love to exaggerate things, but in this case, I am not exaggerating. I have thoughts, but I also don't have any thoughts, and that says a lot. Thank God I'm doing this for science, because if I was doing it for my own personal enjoyment, I wouldn't have done it. Is this how Marie Curie felt when she was doing the radioactive thing, when she was like, just being poisoned by radioactivity, and she was like, you know what, I am doing this for science. My hair is falling off, but they will name high schools after me.
24 hours later.
I love this woman so much. The entire chapter when she's like reading Anthony, she's like, you piece of shit doctor, it's my man. You can't talk shit about my man. We love that. We love protected girlfriends. If only Josh wasn't a true embodiment of a Gemini man.
A few moments later.
I genuinely don't remember the last time I was this excited just to finish a book. It was very cathartic, and did I enjoy this? I hate to say it, but I don't like it as much as I liked it when I read it like 3 years ago. There were moments where I was like, oh, this is so cute, I like them together, I like them a lot. And then there would be like moments where I just genuinely did not care about the things that happened, and I would just like skip over some parts. In conclusion, I do think that this book would have worked a lot better if it was told from a dual perspective. We got to see more of their rivalry and Josh actually disliked Lucy instead of being in love with her throughout the entire book and just being mean. It just, if he loved her throughout the entire thing, why was he so mean to her, and why did he constantly try to like jeopardize her career? It was just so not like cool or romantic. Like I like the part where he's like, I'm leaving because I am in love with Lucy Hutton. I think that's cute. It's just this, the romantic in me is like is screaming right now. But I do think like it would be nice to have him fall for her first, and we as the readers get to see that, him falling in love with her and him painting his bedroom blue and all of those things, and be like, no, it's not creepy because he can't stop thinking about her and all of these things. Like he thinks about her all the time, but now he can't stop thinking about her in a completely different context. And same as for Lucy. I really liked Lucy as a character. I feel like she is very funny. I think I've spoken about this before, but she's very funny. Josh, he's a Gemini man. What do you expect from him? But yeah, I do think that if it was told from a dual perspective, he would have been a lot more of a redeemable character. And things I would change: the elevator scene. I would rather have the elevator scene be something where they're arguing and it's very like tension filled. This is before they just kind of like, you know, have feelings for one another, so it's like very it's still very hateful but passionate. And like she's on her way to meet Danny and she's like, he's a nice guy and you're not nice, and like Josh is not nice. We as the readers know that he has redeemable qualities and that he is painfully shy, and his shyness is often mistaken for aloofness. But like Lucy doesn't know that. She thinks he's a dick. So like that could happen, and that could be like one of the moments that just both drives them insane. And the kiss is consensual. They both kind of instigated, and they're both like, what the hell happened? I think the wedding was completely I mean, I guess it's important because he stood up for his dad, and I feel like if it was a dual point of view, it would have been nice to see that, and it would have been nice for him to like realize just how much he loves her, or he finds out that he loves her before, but realizes that she might love him as well because she's standing up for him and being very fiercely protective of him. And he's like, nobody has ever stood up for me before. Oh my god, this woman. I don't think I would change anything from Lucy's point of view because it was basically her. If Josh's point of view was added, the pacing would have made a lot more sense. We would get to see him just like being kind of pining over her. And I do think the whole part where she's sick, I do think that they could have gone on like a team building retreat where he insists they go paintballing because he saw there was paintballing, and it just happens and she's like, she gets sick or something because she like insists she eats something because she's stubborn. He's like, don't eat the shrimp. She's like, I'm gonna eat the shrimp, bitch ass. What else? I wish he didn't take her seriously because she's very sweet and nice and everybody likes her, and he's like super mean and a hard ass. I like to have this perspective where he is genuinely jealous of her and her like easy charm and her like magnetic nature and how much people like her and how she doesn't have to try really hard for people to like her, but in reality she tries really hard and he does not know that. I also wish he didn't hide things from her. I wish he was a bit more emotionally available. I also wish he would tell her, hello, do you want to like, my cat's here, she wants to be part of this conversation, I think she agrees with me. I wish he would tell her beforehand that Mindy is his ex-girlfriend and that she agrees with me and that she's marrying his brother, and that's why he's so like torn up and he always feels second best no matter what. And even with Lucy he feels second best. Like, how interesting would that be if you feel second best with her? He takes care of her when she's sick, and I wish he would be like, oh, you owe me now, and she's like, yeah, I do. And I think that's everything I would. Oh, just show everybody your asshole, come on, show it. I think that's all I would change in the book. I feel like dual perspectives are really important in romance novels. I feel like they are very what are you doing? You look like you have a noodle on your head. Oh, she's had enough. She's had it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. What do you think? I'm gonna watch the movie now. Talk to you later.